Toss aside the touchy-feely notions of love in business and recognize the real power it holds. Welcome to the Love is Just Damn Good Business podcast with host Steve Farber. Drawing on his work with a wide variety of companies from the Fortune 100 to smaller family-owned businesses, Farber shares inspiring interviews with business leaders and proven strategies for how you can create experiences that your customers will love by developing a culture that your employees, teammates, and colleagues love working in. Discover why and how love, at the end of the day, is just damn good business for you too. Here's your host, Steve Farber.
Hi, this is Steve Farber, and welcome to another episode of the Love is Just Damn Good Business podcast. So, here are a few words you don't typically hear in the same sentence. Collection agency and, wait for it, love. How do those two things go together? Well, I want to introduce you to an entrepreneur by the name of Brent Rice, who is the owner of two agencies, AHR and BHR, Active Healthcare Receivables, and Balanced Healthcare Receivables. So they are in the collections business, primarily in the healthcare industry. I asked Brent to present at an Extreme Leadership Experience and give us their story of how they combine these two seemingly very incongruent practices, debt collection and love, into a formula that makes for damn good business. So I want to tell you a little bit about Brent before I take you to his presentation. They run call centers in the healthcare accounts receivable management space, AHR, BHR. AHR is a hospital customer care call center, and BHR is a professional third-party debt collection firm. So Brent is the CEO of both of those companies. He began his call center career as a mutual fund trader and call center representative for Fidelity way back in 1986. In 88, he began his career in the debt collections business as a sales rep and quickly moved to admin, finance, and operations. In 91, he became an owner of Allied Creditor Services Incorporated out of Boston. In 96, he created Outsourced Receivables Management. So in the span of 11 years, Brent and his team built these two companies into a 350-plus employee management firm, 350-plus people, obviously, with clients all across the U.S. He sold the company in 2002 and then ran a couple of other organizations. And then finally, in 2007, he went back into the business, created BHR, and in 2018, AHR was born. Now, Brent is a professional collections guy. And honestly, I've met a few over the years. You can infer what you want from that, but I'll just tell you outright, back in my younger days, I was on the receiving end, I think, of one or two collection calls, as far as I remember. But I also had the chance to speak to a collections agency industry group a number of years ago, and it was a really surprising thing that the model for collections has really changed over the years, from aggression to cooperation to compassion. And this is what they strive to embody at AHR BHR with some pretty impressive business results. So give a listen to Brent Rice, and let's talk about love and the collection agency. Enjoy.
We are professional debt collection companies, and we ask people to pay their bills. It's quite an industry. Let me give you a quick backstory here. So I ran some companies from 91 to 02. I owned them, ran them, I had a lot of help. And I sold those at the tender age of 36, and I took the money and I ran. And then I paid a price. I started working at 36 for some other folks, and I learned a couple of things. I didn't like going to work when it was a knife fight. 9 people would enter the room, and there would be 8 knives. It was very toxic from a management perspective, and I had a 5-year contract to run these companies, and I lasted 20 months. So I discovered many things during this journey, and 2 of them that really hit home were I do not like dishonest, manipulative, and inauthentic people. It created tension in my soul. 2, I liked building and running and operating companies where our employees and our clients were treated really well. So interestingly enough, in 2007, we put the band back together again. I called up some clients, said I was going to jump into business. They said, we're in. Called some former employees. They said we were in, and we were up and running. My original intent, and I remember, I'm in my early 40s, and I'm still young. I'm 55. And there's sort of this maturation thing that takes place. My original intent was self-serving. I just wanted to stay busy. And it kind of morphed along the way. Our intent in around 2012 was to become a company with heart and serve our employees and our clients while turning the traditional collection agency experience, you all may have experienced that, I'm going to ask you, on its ear. We wanted to change that whole paradigm. So, I am on B. So, I've mentioned this, we ask people to pay their bills, and what better business to show love while you're asking somebody to pay an $800 bill, right? We only have a minute to 2 minutes to create a connection of trust and safety while we're on the phone with these folks. And we do this by, and we preach authenticity, we do this by being authentic, listening with compassion, and assisting in resolution. So we create, in that 1 or 2 or 3 minute phone call, once we get a connection, we're creating a sense of awareness for the person on the other side of that phone call, okay? And from awareness comes options, and from options comes a path to resolution, right? And that's where our folks are very creative. And I have proof on this. But in short, we're helping people help themselves. And we have millions of communications on a monthly basis. And I jump right to the proof because we have 2 companies. You guys didn't know you were going to learn about accounts receivable today, did you? It's a hell of a business. I've been doing it for 30 years. We have 2 companies. AHR is a customer care call center for hospitals. You may have received a hospital bill in the mail, and you open it up, and you're like, what the heck is this? And you call the hospital up, and they say, ABC Hospital, Patient Financial Services, how can I help you? That's us. That's AHR. That's called first-party debt collections. We're answering the phone in the name of the hospital. Then there's BHR, which is a professional bad debt collections company. We're the collection agency. We answer the phone, balanced healthcare receivables, and we have to identify ourselves as that. So, getting ready for this, proof. I looked at, we have awards every month, and these are from actual folks. Remember, millions of communications a month. People have an experience with our reps, they call us back, and they tell us, we had a great experience with your rep. We're asking these people to pay thousands of dollars. We're getting it resolved, and they're calling us back to thank us. So Sonia, just a couple of them here, was great helping resolving my account. This is on the AHR side. Provided the best customer service I've ever had. I'm going to drop down to the third one. Shana was helpful in sorting out all of my family accounts. I was happy to pay all of our balances at once. I'm going to jump over to the bad debt side. So when it gets there, you know it's sort of trouble. Most folks don't pay their medical bills when it jumps off to the collection agency side. First one, RG is here, by the way. Very sweet and helpful. She took her time and helped locate and explain my account balance. I had a great conversation with RG. She's excellent customer service skills, right? I'm going to go down to the last two because they were pointed. I looked through like 300 or 400 of these to pick out a couple of snippets. And Matt, number 4 here, or bullet 4, very helpful and patient when talking with me. I was very pleased at the way Matt treated me compared to other agencies in the past. And creating that connection, the last one, just hits home for me. It makes my heart swell, head to heart, right? Eileen helped me a great deal. I felt a connection, and it boosted my confidence. I agreed to set up a payment plan after speaking with Eileen. I had no intention on paying this account previously. Now, not paying a bill is the norm when it gets over to us at Balanced Healthcare. So collections, think about it, if you will. It's my business and I love it. In the not so distant past, 10, 20 years ago, agencies did 3 things. I'm gonna crip something from my COO over there. They sent out dunning notices. Have you guys ever received a collection letters from an agency? Anybody? Really? You guys pay all your bills on time? That's fantastic. We made phone calls and we demanded payment in full, right? That's what we did. I can't believe you guys haven't received any collection phone calls. How about a robocall? Have you ever received one of those damn robocalls?
I'll be honest, I have.
Okay, good. You're not a criminal. So there was sort of a shift. I'd mentioned in 2007 we rebooted, and in running companies, the senior management team had this really caring approach. And we thought that our philosophy would just matriculate. It would just seep into our staff, and everyone would be loving and caring. It didn't happen. So in 2012, we're saying, this didn't happen. So we kind of did a reboot, or thereabouts, and we decided to push that approach with a company-wide love initiative, if you will. Our people and our culture and our companies were hell-bent on changing the typical collection agency experience. And what we're doing is by engaging all of our people, our technology, and we're doing it one phone call at a time. And that's our mantra, and that's what we do. We also, and I mentioned that I sold the companies and took the money and ran. We also realized that this is a very profitable business. So you can do well by doing good. And we do help a lot of folks out of jams financially by educating them and helping them resolve their bills. Here we go. I'm going to give you some AR basics. Here it is. This is the lesson of the day as far as AR goes. The older an account gets, the less collectible it is. It's that simple. All right? Has anybody ever had to run a P&L and look at their AR? We got some folks here that have done that. Okay, so get excited with me. This is a typical look at a hospital's AR. We're going to take a snapshot. They got $100 million sitting. When you take this snapshot of their self-pay population, it's $100 million, all right? And what hospitals typically do is they send out their statements, and then you get that and you call them back up, and then you may send your check in. So what a typical hospital would do is send out those 4 or 5 statements and receive your inbound calls. And if they're lucky, and I'm being generous, they might collect $25 million. Out of that, $100 million. That's me. And then around 120 days, they have some rules and regs where they have to write any uncollected receivables off to the bad debt collection agencies. That's the BHR side. With me on this so far? Now, 100 million less 25 million means 75 million's rolling over here. It goes to the collection agency, and if they're lucky, they're going to collect 10% of that, or 7.5 million. You with me on that? That means 67.5 million is uncollected. And guess who eats that? The hospital. So, if we can find ways to collect more money for them and increase their customer care and their customer service, wouldn't that be beneficial? So we do that. In fact, I've mentioned that AHR is a customer care call center for hospitals. And as you see, those statements are still going out every 30 days, just like you get your Visa bill, right? And yes, we receive inbound calls, but we're also making courtesy outbound calls. How's that? Hello, Mr. Farber. I know you recently received, did you recently receive a bill from us, Mr. Farber? Yes, you did. Oh, great. We just want $800. I want to explain it to you. Blue Cross Blue Shield paid $3,000. There was a $1,000 adjustment. The $800 that's left over is patient responsibility. Can we help you take, can we help take care of that today? And you'll say, I moved, or I have a different insurance company. We're taking down all this information, and we're collecting more money. In fact, by using the AHR side and love and caring and compassion, we're collecting, instead of that $25 million, it's between $31 million and $35 million instead of the 25. So our clients are seeing a 25 to a 40% improvement by using us and our approach. The bad debt side, remember I said there's a lot of stuff going on in this slide. And when I speak at shows that are in our space, people get, kind of excited about it, but I'm not seeing that here. So on the bad debt side, remember the agency might collect 10% of it. Let's say we get $100 million every single month of bad debt placed with us. That comes to us in our client accounts, and we have to write all these programs to get those electronic files in. Then we throw it into our system. And then we do things like we want to make sure that Steve Farber, he lives at 123 West Lincoln Street, and his date of birth is, and his social security is, and his telephone number is this. Is it a landline? Is it a cell line? Oh, if it's a cell line, we have some other rules and regs. But long story short, we start our telephone campaigns right here, our outbound campaigns. And we have massive amounts of campaigns because we're trying to connect and talk to people. By using BHR, I forgot this, instead of that $7.5 million that the hospitals get, they're getting 8.6 to 9.75 using us instead of 7.5, or they're seeing a 15 to a 30% increase in their liquidation. So I talked about massive amounts of communications. Now, we're only about a 125-person shop, maybe 130 people. Peter and I have run shops with about 1,200 people in them and 29 offices around the country. So we got a little experience in this, but we've chosen to work with people that we want to work with, and we don't have mandates from venture capital folks to grow at 30 or 40 or 50% or whatever that is. So these are some pretty heady numbers for a company our size. We have about 2 million outbound communications, about 500,000 inbound communications every single month. That's a lot of communication. Let's add to the mix the bad actors that are out there. The robocalls, right? Or you've seen the stories in the news about the agencies that run scams on the old folks, right? So we've got all that as a headwind against us. And because of those bad actors, we have over the top, in my opinion, and onerous regulations from the feds and various states. It's a tough operating environment that we work in. So we have to comply with all of these rules and regs with each and every communication that we make, inbound and outbound. And believe it or not, there are attorneys out there that are just dying to sue us. We actually have a budget line item where we have to deal with settlements for lawsuits. We may have done nothing wrong, but I could fight it and spend $200,000 or $300,000, or I could settle it for $8,000. And ask Peter how he feels about settling at $8,000. So it's a tough environment. We're living it, we're doing it, and we're doing it, as I said, we're hell-bent on changing that collection agency experience, and we're doing it one phone call at a time, one interaction at a time. So why did we take a leap? Why did we take the leap? Why did I become a leaper? So there were two pretty specific reasons I'm going to need this. Self-serving. It was a very tight labor market when we started thinking about LEAP. And secondly, I'd mentioned about connecting with our team, right? Our staff, all the way from the very top to the frontline folks. Everyone needed to understand our message and our authenticity and our honesty. So last January, was it January or February for the last event, Steve? Last January, I attended Steve's event. It coincided with his birthday bash. Yes? Folks here for that? Phenomenal musicians. I hope they're still here. Steve is great. So the event, the leap concepts, the stories I experienced connected a lot of dots for me. And I came back from sunny San Diego. I go back to New Hampshire, and I'm noodling over this. How in the hell do I get my senior management team into this love thing, right? So I pitched the idea of bringing, and I say Telly because it's the Extreme Leadership Institute, to our senior management team. And I do this as a cost and efficiency game, right? As you might expect, several members of our senior management team, hello, Peter, were a little hesitant, to say the least. Remember, our team's sort of a salty New England bunch. And love? Are you kidding me? This is what I got. Regardless, or as they say in East Boston, irregardless, that we've been preaching love at our town halls for the last 4 or 5 years, as in we want our clients to love us, act with love and care. These are things we were talking about since 2012 when we did our little reboot. I pointed out to the senior management team and our finance folks that if we could cut our employee turnover rate, reduce our hiring costs, and increase our employee retention, it might be worth giving a whirl. What the hell, right? So in July, Jenna, when did you come out? In July of 18, we brought Jenna in and some members of the Telly team, and we gave it a whirl. Her first visit was with our entire management team. And we went on the org chart, manager and above. There were like 18 or 20 people there. And Jenna pitched culture is the cornerstone, right? And these 18 or 20 folks walk into the room. We sit down at a big U table, and she does her thing for 90 minutes or 120 minutes. And as people are filing out of the room, I'm hearing comments like, hey, that was pretty good. I heard, I can see how this would work. I heard, I like it. And I also heard, yeah, but, right? So as far as I'm concerned, I had like 90% of the audience and we were on our way. So I talked about the tight labor market. And these are some flabbergasting, crazy statistics. In my business, the average turnover rate is 125% a year. That's freaking nuts. That's flipping nuts, right? And we were running in the 45-ish from 13 to 16 turnover percent range. Labor market tightened up at the 16, 17, and we sort of popped up to 68%. That's about the time we started. I had my experience last year. Jenna comes in, and in 2018, we've moved the mark down from 68 to 52%. So that's measurable progress as far as I'm concerned. There's a cost to bringing on employees, and we're getting that down. Now, prior to 18, we'd get a project and we had to hire 20 or 30 people. And we went from hiring bodies to put fannies in the seats to making sure we had the right fit. And we rejiggered our entire hiring screening process. We're in the process of completely doing our onboarding process, which we're going to roll out next week. But we're seeing measurable progress. I also mentioned communicating. I'm going to jump from. No, I'm going to stay with connecting to our staff. Stay with me here. So, communicating our intent. Remember, I mentioned in 2007 we started this, and we just thought that our approach would just seep into our team, and it didn't happen. So we tried again in 2012, and what we found was the people that got it, about 35% of our staff got our message. 45% of them were like fence sitters, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, gonna wait, gonna see what happens, not quite sure. And then we had, what did Tommy call them? Critics and crazies? The haters, the 20%. He was saying 10%, we had about 20. Right, so post-sleep, we're only 7, 8 months into this, 6, 7, 8 months. We're about 50% of the folks get it. They understand from our heart what we're trying to accomplish. And it makes me feel very good. We still have the fence sitters, about 45% of them. They're in half the time, they're out half the time. But look at the haters, down to 5%, and I think it's even lower than that. And they're working their way out of the company. They see all their other brethren sort of energized and excited, and if it's not the right fit, we don't want them. So the old way of us communicating with our staff, and this is why we loved, was we would tell our team how much we cared. We had our town halls, and we said, hey, we're covering more of your healthcare costs than the competitors. Hey, we've got a 401k, and we were gonna match it. Our competitors don't have that. In fact, they're doing away with their 401ks. We love you, we care for you. We're creating better workspaces and better office spaces. We invested millions of dollars in technology to make their lives and jobs easier and more efficient. We fine-tuned compensation and team compositions. We created reward programs. And in the end, we just weren't getting our complete message out there. So prior to taking the leap, those are the numbers, and post-leap, those are the numbers. Our next step was to engage the entire company, not just that management component, and Jenna did just that. She came in, it's uncomfortable. I want to say, when you drop your drawers and everyone's looking at you, it's uncomfortable, right? And we did this employee survey, and we asked everyone to say, what do you like, what do you dislike? And we got a lot of stuff that we had to work on. And it was uncomfortable to read it, see it, but then once you get beyond that uncomfortable component, you realize there's some gold in there. And from that, we figured out our weaknesses and our perceived shortcomings. We created six culture teams. And their energy, innovation, and solutions have been nothing short of fantastic. We've always preached authenticity and honesty, and by combining that with LEAP at BHR, we're learning how to run these companies together as a team. And it's not just coming down from on high or from what the senior management thinks might work. These folks are fully engaged by these teams. Our employee survey told us that we had a pretty crappy hiring and onboarding process, and we did. We created a communications team for both internal and external communications. Recognition and reward. Team Excellence does a lot of policy stuff. They've done some great job. We have a fun squad that comes up with events for all of our employees and their families to take part in. And then what really stuck out was our training. And Rachel is here. Rachel is the chicken. I'm going to just explain that she's the chicken woman. When she raised her hand on the Popeyes thing, she's fantastic. And her team, we had all this material, and we thought that people were using it. And she brought it all together, and we're putting together a very cohesive training package. So with the love and the energy and their audacious goals, when I saw the culture team's goals, when they presented to the senior management team, I'm thinking they're not going to get this stuff done. It's going to take them 2 or 3 years. And they're trying to get something done in a quarter. They did it. That's the proof. These folks are fully engaged, and they're changing our company. You saw the results that we get when people call us up after we ask them to pay their bill. For crying out loud, what other proof do you need? And, by the way, we have the margins to prove it. We're a very, very profitable and well-run company. And what that allows me to do as an owner, it allows me to select clients that I want to work with. That means I get to be judicious in with whom I work and the amount of money that I charge them to do our job. And in our business, you saw the net returns, right? 9.75 million instead of 7.5 million. 31 or 35 million instead of 25 million. So our results, not only do we pay for ourselves, but we're pretty well connected with CFOs and CEOs all around the country. So if somebody wants to check on us, Bob knows Sally and Sally knows Frankie, and they can all talk and they can say we're a hell of a company. So I want to bring those folks up really quickly. We have 2 minutes and 24 seconds. So come on up, team. Say a little something. We have Lisa, Argy, Iris, Rachel, Lucy, Peter, the salty New Englander, Justin, and Pedro. This is our future, really. So go ahead. Do we have something that, can they just?
Yes, please share.
Do you want to share anything? Where do you want to start? And you don't have to say, Argy, would you like to say something?
Yes. Well, I'm not very good at speaking, but we'll see it. My name is Argy Tavares, and I work for the company AHR, BHR. I'm in the bad debt collections part. So I deal with the tough part of the job. I am the team lead for the culture team, onboarding, hiring and onboarding, and I just have to say that I am so grateful to working for this company. I've been there 4 years, so I must like something about it. The managers, everything is unbelievable. The support system that we get is not just as workers, is a family, and there's nothing better than working for a company that you feel that you're going to work, but you're going to see the people that you like, the people that is your family. You work with them every day, and you probably spend more time at work than at home, and that's who I represent. I love my job. And Brent, really, he's awesome.
Thank you. Anybody else want to say something?
Of course, Chicken Lady will say something, right?
I'm going to cry.
All right. Of course, I always talk. My name is Rachel. I am a data analyst for our data management program. So I work between AHR and BHR, kind of communicating the data between the client system and our system, and all that other fun stuff. So I'm kind of out of time, so I'm just going to throw out a couple of quotes that I live my life by. One of them is from my favorite movie, Moulin Rouge, which is, "The greatest thing you will ever learn is just to love and be loved in return." And the other one is from myself, which is, "Incredible things are done by normal people who choose to do them." And I think that's something really impactful and profound that we should live our life by. And I love my job.
Do we have one more? Can we do one more? Would you like to say something? Sure. Please.
So BHR is the third call center I've worked for, second debt collection company I've worked for, and it's the first time I've actually felt valued as an employee. First time I've actually felt like I'm part of a team, part of a family, and not just because he's my dad. And you know, there's a lot of stuff out there about collection agencies, and it's not all true, and there's a lot of fun stuff that happens at BHR, and it's mostly due to the people who run it. Brent is a complete crazy person, and also the best boss I've ever worked for. So I'm just, hey. How's it going? So I'm just honored to be here. I'm honored to be part of this company, and I'm honored to be able to hold a microphone and talk.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. And thank you, folks, for listening to the AR thing. After you. Thanks, buddy.
Good job, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, in conclusion, look, this stuff works. It really does. And love in business is damn good business. And it's really good business in the collections industry. I think it's applicable to every component of your life, not just business. The energy works, the love works, and you can be very profitable in whatever business you do it. It sounds, California lovey-dovey, and we got the salty New Englanders to just back that up. But look at the proof 8 months in. We're killing it. And our folks, I love them with all my heart.
I hope you enjoyed that case study and presentation from Brent Rice. And again, I'm struck by the incongruity of it all, at least according to our conventional wisdom. I debated whether or not to leave the part in where he brought some of his team members up on stage. And then when I listened to it again, I thought, that's the punchline in all of this. With such incredible turnover industry-wide, 125%, industry-wide, to have employees that say repeatedly, I love my job, I love my job, I love my leadership, is really quite extraordinary. I mean, when would you ever imagine hearing somebody who collects bad debt say, I love my job? And not because they love tormenting people to get their money, but because they love helping people and they love the people that they work with. Just an extraordinary thing. So I hope you got some great nuggets out of that for your business and for your life overall. And I'm just, I'm inspired every day by the number of people, no matter what kind of industry they're in, who really strive to operationalize love in the way that they do business, even in the most seemingly unlikely of places. So thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Steve Farber, reminding you, just like Brent, to do what you love in the service of people who love what you do.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Love is Just Damn Good Business with Steve Farber. Join us again next time, because when customer and employee satisfaction just isn't enough anymore, we are here to back you up with specific ideas to operationalize love to make an enormous difference in your business, personal life, and the world around you. Visit our website at stevefarber.com to leave a review. And don't forget to share the love with your colleagues and friends, because after all, it's just damn good business.